The invoice showed $47,000 for landscaping work that never happened on my street. I'm Aiden Powell, 34, a veterinarian who moved to Brook Ridge in Foxbend, Missouri 2 years ago. The subdivision promised quiet suburban life. Tree-lined streets, well-maintained common areas, reasonable HOA fees. I found the invoice by accident, Thursday morning, checking my mailbox before work. The wind caught a stack of papers from Caleb Long's briefcase as he loaded his car. Community budget documents scattered across Maple Grove Drive. I helped him collect them. Professional courtesy between neighbors. That's when I saw it. Riverside Landscaping Services minus $47,000 Maple Grove Drive median renovation, project completed. The median strip outside my house looked identical to the day I moved in. Brown grass, 3 dying oak trees, cracked concrete edging installed in 1987. Caleb snatched the papers quickly, too quickly, his face flushed red above his polo shirt collar. "Thanks for the help," he said. "Budget planning keeps me busy." He drove away before I could ask questions. I walked the entire Maple Grove Drive median that evening, measured it with my phone app. 237 feet long, 12 feet wide, the same patchy grass, the same 3 struggling trees, no signs of recent work. No irrigation system. No new plantings, no soil amendments, nothing worth $47,000. I checked the other medians in Brook Ridge. Elm Street looked pristine, new sod. Decorative stone borders. Automatic sprinkler heads every 20 feet. That work cost $32,000 according to the community newsletter. Maple Grove Drive cost $15,000 more for work that didn't exist. Friday night, I drove past Caleb's house on Birch Lane. His driveway featured new decorative pavers. Expensive ones. Natural stone with intricate patterns. Professional installation. The kind that costs thousands. His backyard had a new pergola. Cedar construction with copper accents. Built-in lighting system. High-end outdoor furniture underneath. The timing felt wrong. Caleb worked as our community budget planner. Volunteer position. He managed HOA funds and coordinated improvement projects. Modest salary from his day job at the credit union. Saturday morning brought the monthly HOA newsletter. Page 3 listed completed projects. Maple Grove Drive median enhancement minus $47,000 Riverside Landscaping Services. I photographed the dead median strip. Documented every brown patch, every crack in the concrete, every dying branch. The evidence suggested something impossible. Our community budget planner had approved payment for landscaping work that never happened. The money went somewhere. $47,000 doesn't disappear by accident. I needed to understand what happened to that money, and why Caleb Long looked so nervous when I saw that invoice. The investigation started with a simple question. Where did the money really go? Monday morning, I called Riverside Landscaping Services. The number from the HOA invoice connected to a disconnected line. Directory assistants found no business by that name in Foxbend or surrounding counties. I drove to the address listed on the invoice, 1247 Industrial Boulevard. The building housed Murphy's Auto Parts. The manager, a woman named Adeline Murphy, checked their records going back 5 years. No landscaping company had ever operated from that location. "You sure about that address?" she asked. "Sounds like someone's playing games." The invoice looked legitimate. Official HOA letterhead, proper formatting. Caleb's signature as budget planner. But the vendor didn't exist. I requested copies of all landscaping invoices from the past year. HOA bylaws guaranteed homeowner access to financial records. The property management company, Westfield Associates, scheduled an appointment for Thursday. Wednesday evening, I attended the monthly HOA board meeting. 7 residents showed up, normal attendance for our community of 84 homes. Caleb sat at the treasurer's table with his laptop and manila folders. Board President Adeline Foster reviewed the agenda. Standard items. Architectural review requests. Maintenance updates. Budget discussions. Any questions about recent expenditures, she asked. I raised my hand. The Maple Grove Drive median project. Can you explain the scope of work? Caleb shuffled papers. Standard enhancement. Irrigation. Installation. Soil improvement. Native plantings. Riverside Landscaping completed the work last month. I walked that median yesterday. I don't see any improvements. The work was underground mostly. Irrigation lines, soil amendments. Takes time to show results. Adeline Foster nodded. Caleb coordinates all our landscaping projects. He knows the technical details. I pressed further. Can residents inspect the irrigation system, see the new plantings? The contractor guaranteed the work, Caleb said. Professional installation with warranty coverage. The meeting moved to other topics. But I noticed Caleb's hands shaking when he reached for his water bottle. Thursday at Westfield Associates, I reviewed 12 months of landscaping invoices. The pattern became clear immediately. Riverside Landscaping Services appeared on 6 invoices. Total payments, $137,000. Projects included median work, tree trimming, seasonal plantings, and irrigation repairs. I photographed every invoice, cross-referenced them with actual work completed. The discrepancies were massive. Tree trimming invoice for $15,000. The trees looked untouched for years. Seasonal planting invoice for $23,000. The flower beds contained the same dying plants from last spring. Irrigation repair invoice for $18,000. Half our sprinkler head still didn't work. Can I get copies of the canceled checks? I asked the property manager. Those require board approval. Submit a written request. I drove home with a folder full of evidence. 6 fraudulent invoices. $137,000 in payments to a non-existent company, all approved by our community budget planner. That evening, I called my neighbor Adeline Chen. She served on the Architectural Review Committee. Smart woman, former accountant. She'd noticed financial irregularities. I need your opinion on something, I said. Can you look at some HOA invoices? She came over after dinner. I spread the documents across my kitchen table, explained the missing landscaping work, showed her the disconnected phone number and fake address. Adeline studied each invoice carefully. This is fraud, she said. Clear pattern of false billing. Someone stealing from the community. Caleb approved every payment. He's either involved or incredibly negligent. Either way, this needs investigation. We researched Riverside Landscaping Services online. No website, no business registration with Missouri Secretary of State. No contractor's license with the city. The company existed only on our HOA invoices. Friday morning, I visited Foxbend City Hall. The clerk helped me search business license records. No Riverside Landscaping Services had ever registered in the city. No landscaping company at 1247 Industrial Boulevard. I requested copies of all business licenses issued to landscaping companies in the past 2 years. 17 legitimate companies operated in our area, none named Riverside. The evidence pointed to one conclusion. Someone created a fake landscaping company to steal HOA funds. Caleb Long had approved every fraudulent payment. Saturday afternoon, I drove past Caleb's house again. New additions everywhere. Professional landscape lighting along the driveway. Decorative retaining walls in the backyard. High-end outdoor kitchen with granite countertops. The improvements looked expensive. Very expensive. The kind of work that cost tens of thousands of dollars. I parked across the street and calculated the timeline. The fake invoices started 8 months ago. Caleb's home improvements began around the same time. The correlation felt too obvious to ignore. My phone buzzed with a text from Adeline Chen. Found something important. Can you come over? She met me at her front door with a laptop. I searched property records for Caleb's address. He filed for a home equity loan 6 months ago. Borrowed $80,000 against his house. For what purpose? Home improvements. But here's the interesting part. The loan application listed his income as $65,000 annually. Credit union employee salary. But his spending suggests much more money. We sat at her kitchen table reviewing the evidence, fraudulent invoices totaling $137,000. Caleb's expensive home improvements. The timeline matching perfectly. He's been stealing from us, Adeline said, creating fake invoices, approving payments to himself, using our landscaping budget for his personal projects. The betrayal felt complete. Caleb Long, our trusted community budget planner, had systematically robbed his own neighbors. He'd looked me in the eye at board meetings while stealing thousands of dollars from our shared resources. But I needed proof of the connection. Evidence linking Caleb to the fake company. Documentation showing where the money actually went. Sunday evening, I called the Missouri State Revenue Oversight Unit. Explained the situation to the duty officer. Fraudulent invoices, missing funds, suspected embezzlement by an HOA official. We'll assign an investigator, she said. Gather all your documentation. This sounds like a case for our banking commission division. Monday morning brought a call from Detective Emerson Jackson. Banking Commission investigator, 20 years experience with financial fraud cases. I understand you've discovered irregularities in your HOA finances, he said. Can you meet tomorrow to review the evidence? The investigation was about to become official. Caleb Long's betrayal would face professional scrutiny. Justice felt possible for the first time since I'd seen that original invoice. But I knew the confrontation ahead would test everything I thought I knew about my community and the people I'd trusted to protect it. Detective Jackson arrived Tuesday morning with a briefcase and recording equipment. Mid-50s, gray hair, the kind of methodical presence that suggested he'd seen every financial scheme imaginable. Walk me through your discovery process, he said, setting up his recorder on my dining room table. I laid out the evidence chronologically. The original invoice that started everything. The fake company registration, Caleb's loan application, the timeline of his home improvements matching our missing funds. Impressive work, Jackson said, photographing each document. Most HOA fraud goes undetected for years. You caught this relatively early. What happens next? We execute a formal investigation, interview witnesses, subpoena bank records, build a prosecutable case. He paused. But I need your help with something first. Jackson explained his plan. A controlled confrontation with Caleb. Record his responses. Give him opportunity to confess or provide explanations. Standard procedure in financial fraud cases. Will you wear a wire to the next board meeting? The thought terrified me, but our community deserved justice. Yes. Thursday evening, Jackson fitted me with a digital recording device. Tiny microphone clipped inside my shirt collar. Transmitter in my jacket pocket. Keep the conversation natural, he instructed. Ask about the invoices. Let him explain. Don't accuse directly. The board meeting convened at 7 p.m. in the community center. Caleb sat across from me, reviewing his budget reports. Same confident demeanor, same friendly smile. Before we start, I said, I have questions about some recent landscaping invoices. Caleb looked up. Which ones? Premier Grounds Management. Several payments over the past year. I kept my voice steady. I'm having trouble verifying their work. They handle our seasonal plantings, Caleb said without hesitation. Professional outfit, very reliable. Can you provide their contact information? I'd like to schedule additional services. A pause, barely perceptible. I'll get that to you next week. Actually, I tried calling the number on their invoices. Disconnected line. Caleb's pen stopped moving. That's strange. Maybe they changed numbers. I also checked the Secretary of State database. No business registration for Premier Grounds Management in Missouri. The room went quiet. Other board members looked confused. Caleb set down his pen. There must be some mistake, he said. I'll look into it. Caleb, we've paid this company over $100,000. Where did that money go? His face flushed. I don't appreciate these accusations, Aiden. I've served this community faithfully for 3 years. Then help me understand. Show me the contracts. Provide documentation of their work. This is inappropriate, Caleb stood up. I won't be interrogated like a criminal." "Sit down," said Adeline Long, the board secretary. "Answer his questions." Caleb remained standing. "I'm calling an executive session. This discussion is over." "No executive session," I said. "This is community business, our money, our right to know." The confrontation escalated quickly. Caleb accused me of harassment. I pressed for documentation. Other board members demanded explanations. Finally, Caleb grabbed his papers and walked out. I resigned from this board effective immediately. The recording device captured everything. Friday morning, Jackson reviewed the audio. Perfect. His evasion and resignation suggest consciousness of guilt. Combined with your financial evidence, we have a strong case. What's the next step? Search warrant for his home and bank records, asset freeze on his accounts, formal charges within the week. The search warrant executed Monday at dawn. I watched from my front window as investigators carried boxes from Caleb's house. Computer equipment, financial documents, evidence of his betrayal. Jackson called that afternoon. "We found everything. Forged invoices on his home computer, bank deposits matching the fraudulent payments. He's been stealing from your HOA for 18 months. How much total? $137,400. Exactly what you calculated." The formal charges came Wednesday: felony theft, fraudulent schemes, abuse of fiduciary duty. Caleb Long was arrested at his credit union job. Local news covered the story. HOA official charged in embezzlement scheme. The reporter interviewed me about discovering the fraud. "Trust but verify," I told the camera. "Community leaders handle our money. We have the right to ask questions." Caleb's attorney contacted the HOA board Thursday. Plea negotiations. Full restitution in exchange for reduced charges. His client wanted to avoid trial. "Absolutely not," Adeline said at our emergency meeting. "He stole from every family in this community. Let him face the consequences." The board voted unanimously to reject the plea offer. Trial preparation consumed the next month. Jackson interviewed neighbors about Caleb's expensive improvements. Subpoenaed bank records showing the money trail. Built an airtight case. I testified about discovering the fraudulent invoices, explained my investigation process, described the board meeting confrontation. "Did the defendant ever provide documentation for Premier Grounds Management?" the prosecutor asked. "No. He resigned rather than answer questions." The jury deliberated 2 hours, guilty on all counts. Sentencing came 6 weeks later. Judge Morrison reviewed Caleb's financial crimes. The systematic betrayal of community trust. The elaborate deception spanning 18 months. This defendant exploited his position to steal from his own neighbors, she said. Such betrayal demands serious consequences. 3 years in state prison. Full restitution of $137,000. Permanent ban from serving on any HOA board in Missouri. The community celebrated quietly. Justice served, trust restored, our shared resources protected. But the real victory came in the changes we implemented. New financial oversight procedures. Mandatory documentation for all vendor payments. Regular audits by independent accountants. I helped draft the new policies. Shared our experience with other HOA communities. Turned our betrayal into protection for others. The investigation had revealed something important about suburban life. Trust requires verification. Community leadership demands accountability. And sometimes, the greatest threats come from those we trust most. 12 months later, Brook Ridge looked different. Not the houses or streets. Those remained unchanged. But the community itself had transformed. The new financial oversight system worked flawlessly. Every vendor payment required dual approval. All invoices got verified against actual work performed. Monthly reports went to every homeowner. No more blind trust. No more assumptions about good intentions. I stood in my backyard, watching the legitimate landscaping crew maintain our common areas. Premier Grounds Management had vanished completely. turned out to be nothing more than Caleb's fabricated business name and a post office box. The real contractor, Midwest Landscape Solutions, charged 30% less for superior work. Their crews arrived on schedule, used professional equipment, provided detailed invoices with photographic documentation. Everything Caleb's phantom company had never done. My phone buzzed with a text from Adeline Long. She'd been elected HOA president after Caleb's conviction. Workshop request from Sunset Hills community. Can you present next Thursday? I'd been conducting these sessions for 8 months now, teaching other HOA boards about financial fraud prevention, sharing our investigation techniques, helping communities protect themselves. The irony wasn't lost on me. I teach workshops on identifying HOA financial fraud before things went bad in our own neighborhood. Now I helped others avoid our mistakes. Each presentation drew larger crowds, board members, homeowners, property managers, all seeking protection against the Caleb Longs of suburban America. The workshop materials included our complete case file, redacted documents showing the fraud progression, step-by-step investigation procedures, warning signs every community should recognize. Detective Jackson had provided official endorsement. The Missouri HOA Association distributed our prevention guide statewide. Other states requested copies. Our betrayal had become a teaching tool. Caleb served his sentence at Jefferson City Correctional Center. Restitution payments arrived monthly through the state system. Every dollar accounted for, every cent returned to community coffers. His house sold last spring. New owners seemed pleasant enough. They attended board meetings, participated in neighborhood activities, understood the enhanced oversight procedures. Trust, but verify. Reagan's old phrase had become our community motto. The legal victory felt complete, but the personal healing took longer, months of questioning my judgment, wondering how I'd missed the obvious signs, replaying conversations for hidden meanings. But eventually the anger faded. The suspicion diminished. The community bonds strengthened through shared adversity. We'd learned valuable lessons about suburban vulnerability, about the need for transparency in community leadership, about protecting shared resources from internal threats. The workshops continued growing. Requests from Texas, California, Florida. Communities everywhere faced similar risks. Our experience provided roadmaps for prevention. I'd found purpose in the betrayal's aftermath, turned our painful lesson into protection for others, built something positive from Caleb's deception. The evening air carried sounds of normal neighborhood life. Children playing, lawnmowers running, neighbors chatting over fences, the rhythms of suburban peace. Brook Ridge had survived its crisis, emerged stronger, more vigilant, better protected. The investigation files sat locked in my home office, evidence of how quickly trust could shatter, how thoroughly deception could penetrate, how completely communities could recover. I closed the workshop materials, filed the latest restitution payment, checked the security cameras one final time. Tomorrow would bring another fraud prevention presentation, another community seeking protection, another chance to share our hard-earned wisdom. The betrayal had ended. The healing was complete. The lessons would continue forever. It was finally over, and the silence felt earned.